Okay, so here's the message we've received, and let's see, is it right? And then can we correct it?
Alright, so in this case, there are 1. This was changed to a 0. Yeah, it was changed to a 0. It was a 0 on the screenshot before.
Mm-hmm.
So now we do our parity checks. These 2 rows. We see there's no error in these 2 rows. So we can eliminate these 2 rows. So if there is an error, it's going to be here, or I guess just here. Parity check. This one comes up even. So I guess already you have narrowed it down to just 1 box.
Okay.
Parity check here comes up still comes up even, I guess. So that would tell you if there is an error, it's going to be in these 2.
Okay.
So they're actually contradicting.
Well, wait a minute. So
You've done here and here.
okay.
That adds up to 4, which is even.
All right.
So that should tell you there isn't an error in one of these 2 rows.
Okay. And what does the last box tell us?
It tells us there is an error in one of these 2 rows here.
Huh. It's a very interesting puzzle of what we're seeing here.
Then we check the last 0 here, or the 1, bit 0,
Okay.
for the parity check for the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this bit should be a 0, but it's a 1. And then in this case, I think if
So that's telling us there's an error somewhere.
yeah,
Okay.
but we don't know where the error was. For the first 2 parity checks, it pointed to here, but then the third parity check told us there wasn't an error here,
Okay.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
But from the last parity check on bit 0, we know that there is an error somewhere, but we don't know where it is.
Right. So actually, by accident, we have an interesting example here that he went through in the video yesterday. So we have these numbers copied correctly off the screen right now, but it's just a still screenshot, so we're not sure what he's explaining. But we do know there's some error here. So can you figure out what it is, what the error is?
Let's see, it might just be one of these parity checking boxes, because
Aha.
these aren't counted at all. I think this parity check was a 0,
Right.
but it should be a 1, and they weren't counted in any of our parity checks.
There you go. So good job. So we had actually, can you put the marker caps back on? We had an interesting situation here where actually a parity check box got communicated wrong.
Yeah.
And we were able to discover that from the sort of inconsistent messages from the checks, saying, hey, there had to be an error. There had to be an error here, but oh, whoops, there's not an error there. So the only box that could be wrong was this one.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So it's not just that it finds an error in the information. These things can also find errors inside of the code.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of this idea?
It is cool that you can get this efficient with error redundancy. or error reducing code. I guess there's no way for it to be perfect, but this does a pretty good job. If there's one error, you can pinpoint where it is. The only way it breaks is if there's 2 or more errors, in which the parity check in one of the columns would be unchanged, so it wouldn't show an error.
Yeah.
But I think from this last parity check here, you would see that there was an error, but you couldn't tell where it was.
Yeah, so it's interesting. They do have some limitations, but if you are sort of sending information over a channel where you expect errors to be fairly rare, these are great at fixing them.
Yeah.
And as he said in the video yesterday, the one we're looking at was one of the original ones invented, I think, in like 1960 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been even more invented since then that are better. It's actually a fascinating piece of computer science.
Yeah.
And math. Mm-hmm. All right, good work, hon.